Hi guys! Millie here. I had some issues connecting for some reason. I'm gonna blame Mercury retrograde because we still have 2 days in this bitch. Mercury retrograde is real. I'm just telling you. I am coming on today to talk about a concept that I've never heard anyone else talk about before, and it's called spirituality shame. Okay, so what this means is that you are feeling shame, embarrassment about being spiritual, and you don't want to fully own it or talk about it or share it. So the fact that I even just mentioned Mercury retrograde is a big deal, sort of, kind of. I mean, I've really been owning my spirituality this year because this year I'm just no fucks given about who I am. And owning everything that I love and everything that I find super helpful. And I'm a very spiritual person. I only used to tell that to a few people back in the day. It was like a deep secret that I would hold and only tell people once they got to know me. But anyways, spirituality shame. Where's my kid? He's coming. Hey, puppy! Spirituality shame is this thing that I experience because I feel like I won't be taken seriously if I'm spiritual. There's all these popular groups and Facebook groups that are science only, science based, and no woo-woo, anti-woo-woo, all that kind of stuff. And I take that personally. I'm oh, well, I clearly will not be taken seriously if I show my woo-woo, if I show my woo-woo side, because, it's not based in science at all. And I feel like spirituality is respected a little bit less than religion, which is funny because spirituality existed before organized religion, but that's an entirely different topic. And I actually don't have issue with organized religion. I used to have an issue with organized religion. Mostly it was an authority issue, mostly because my mom used to force me to go to church and force me to get confirmed as a Catholic. That's my mom's side of the family. Her upbringing, religion, she was Catholic. But what does that even mean? Anyway, I'm not against organized religion at all. I think it's a very great tool. It can be very, very helpful for a lot of people. And there are parts of certain religions that I really like. But anyways, spirituality shame is something that I experience that, makes me not step fully into who I am and not step fully into my power that I really have, because a lot of that power comes from my spirituality, comes from my beliefs about the way the world works, and taps into a lot of really powerful, energy tools and guidance tools. And I'm just going to share a few that I use regularly. Actually, I don't really know if human design is spiritual or not, but I guess it is because it's based on, astrology and the chakra system, and there's parts of Kabbalah in there. So yes, I guess it is highly spiritual. If you've been following me for a bit, you will have heard me talk a little bit about human design. Basically, it's a system, an operating system that I don't know how to put this into words. Oh my goodness. So it's like an astrological chart, but it's not. It's much more complex, and it's based on your place of birth and date of birth and time of birth. So if you want to find out more about human design, I highly recommend going and checking out my coach, Amy's profile. Her handle is thebabesquad.co, and if you go to her bio, there's a link where you can go find out your human design and start reading about it. But anyways, human design has been something really awesome in the spiritual realm that's helped me be true to who I am and accept my nature, my full nature, my true quote-unquote design, and live authentically from that way. And then also I use tarot cards. I always wanted to learn how to read tarot, but I always kind of had like this weird thing like, okay, well, I'm not like a witch. And I realized that saying witch in a certain way could actually be offensive to some people who relate to that term. So if you identify as witchy or a witch, that's awesome. I personally do not. I feel, I don't need a title to be spiritual, but yes. Okay, tarot cards are something that I've been learning. I bought a deck of tarot cards, I think when I was pregnant, and I never, really looked into them because I felt like, oh my gosh, this is really complicated. How am I ever going to learn what all of these things mean? But I just started pulling cards from the deck. I actually have them with me. We're staying at my in-laws for the week because they're out of town. And of all things I would bring with me, I would bring my deck of tarot cards, which is super mangled because Rosen ripped the box. But basically, so what I've been doing is just pulling cards whenever I feel, inclined to. And I'm not using tarot cards as a way to like predict the future. Hey, buddy. I use tarot cards as a way to get guidance, and most of that guidance comes from inside of you when you're using a tool like a tarot card, because what you're doing every time I get on live, this kid wants to breastfeed. Okay. So when you're using something like a tarot card, you're tapping into your own internal guidance because it's your interpretation of the card's meaning that's going to apply, meaning and relevance to you and your situation and your world. So, why wouldn't you want that? You're tapping into your subconscious, you're exposing potentially like limiting beliefs, you're having a conversation with yourself that's meaningful, surrounding your own personal growth, development, mental well-being, all those things. So I used to use goddess guidance cards from Doreen Virtue, who is a great maker of all different types of decks of cards. I had her goddess guidance cards, and I really love those. Like, I would just pull a card. I felt like that was a good place to start for me with card decks, because they all have, their full meanings explained in the little book that comes with it. There's a little book that comes with tarot cards as well, but when I bought, actually I didn't even buy the goddess guidance cards. They were my sister-in-law. Somebody gave them to her as a present, and she was like, I don't know what that is. And I was like, I know what that is. Can I have them? So she gave them to me, and they're amazing. I love the goddess guidance cards, but I'm really getting into the tarot now. And yeah, so no more spirituality shame over here. I'm owning it. I'm stepping fully into it. And who knows where it's going to go next, Like, I was listening to a podcast yesterday about astrocartography. Another name for astrocartography is astrogeography. So basically what that is your astrological chart in relation to locations in the world. So there are different lines of geographical lines that relate to different planets for you in your chart, and you'll experience different powers or challenges or energies in these different spots. So I found this really interesting. I haven't fully dove into this. What? And when I first looked into it was when I came back from Italy, my first ever trip to Europe last September, because I felt so magical when I was in Sicily and the Amalfi Coast and the south coast of Italy, and I've never felt that way in a place before. And my friend had mentioned, astrological, geography to me before, so I went and I looked it up, and I actually wasn't shocked, but I was like, this is amazing. I was excited to see that Italy is one of the really amazing places for me in the world. as is South Beach, and I should probably check Maui because that's where we went on our baby moon, and that place felt like pure magic to me in a completely different way from Italy, actually. Yeah, so let me think about what other spiritual tools I'm using. Prayer, I think, is very spiritual, whether you're religious or not. Meditation, I don't really know if that's spiritual because it's really just working within your own mind, and I guess you could, potentially access divine, quote unquote, divine guidance. I don't really use the word divine. Apart from the fact that I am spiritual and I say I'm super spiritual, I have these very strong beliefs about the way the world works, I still don't like to use a lot of the fluffy terms like divine. I don't know. I find it hard to, adopt all of the spiritual language, and I kind of try to have my own ways of saying things. And I think if I can do that, it might make it a little bit more accessible for a lot of people too. And what else? I love Palo Santo, which is a wood. So you buy these little sticks of wood and you burn them, and the smoke is like an incense style smelling smoke. It's clearing of energies, similar to like when people use sage or other different things like smudging things, and it's clearing, and just the smell of it makes me feel very calm. So Palo Santo is one of my favorites, and I just feel like centered after I burn it. My husband hates the smell of it, and I used to burn incense and he would hate the smell of that. And I used to feel super like embarrassed, I would hide the fact that I would burn incense and try to like cover the smell up of it from when he would come home, because I was afraid that, he would think that I'm like woo woo and this and that. And I was worried that he was going to judge me about being spiritual, like I didn't used to talk about any of this kind of stuff. And like with Mercury retrograde, for example, the thing about Mercury retrograde is that so much technological stuff screws up during Mercury retrograde. It's super duper real. Every time Mercury retrograde happens, I have issues with the computer. I just had an issue with going live. Like I couldn't connect, and then it wouldn't let me post. And then I remember the last time it was Mercury retrograde, I was trying to do a bunch of stuff. Like I was trying to change my address on, my banking site, and I was trying to call whatever, do something on a different site. Like there were 5 different sites that I was trying to do things on, and every single one of them, I'm not even lying, gave me an error message all on the same day. Like I couldn't believe it. And I was like, this is 100% Mercury retrograde. I'm not even going to try anymore. And because I realize this now and I know this, I need to do a bunch of updates on my website on juniorfoxes.com, and I'm simply not going to do them until Mercury retrograde is over on the 28th. Like I did little things, but I just like feel like, okay, intuition says let's wait a couple more days before you dive into this project, because I feel like it could only be trouble. Another thing that's super spiritual is your intuition, honestly. This year I've been like crazy tapping into my intuition, which also is heavily linked to human design, in my opinion. Because if you're listening to yourself and your human design, and you're paying attention to what feels good and what sparks joy, lights you up, then that is your intuition, and you're making choices from what feels right. I think you're always going to get a better response, and I think that is the divine, really. Like you're getting these pings, you're getting these hints as to which direction you should go in, and that that is not a coincidence. Like, I just don't think that there are coincidences, and I think that is the definition of inspired action, is paying attention and then responding. But every human design type, like every type, has a different way to navigate the world. So mine is to respond. So mine is to wait. I have, like, if I have a want, if I have a goal, whatever, I put it out into the world, just like let it be known, and then I wait to respond to a sign. And that, discovering that has been such a huge thing for me, because I am the type of person that thinks, oh, well, if you want to do something, you better go out and like make it happen, force it to happen, hustle hard, get it done. But honestly, every single time in my entire life that I have tried and pushed for something to happen, it's never worked out. The best things that I've accomplished in my life, the biggest things that I've done have all been from ease. They happened easily. They felt like they weren't work. I mean, yes, there were a lot of hours of work involved, and yes, there was a lot of action involved, but it only came after I was paying attention to the directions that I felt called to go in. Like, even with Junior Foxes, now that I'm kind of a couple years in almost, I get these ideas about what I should be doing in the business. And then I try to force things, or I get this next big idea about what I should do to grow the business. And if I force it, if I, go full in and try to make things happen, and I don't follow what lights me up, then it falls flat, honestly. So, like, an example I have to give you is with Junior Foxes, I've been really stressing about producing content. Like, I want to produce something like a blog or a YouTube, series weekly, and I haven't felt the excitement to do it. So I'm really unsure of what to do with that, and I've tried several times to like get people to submit blogs because I don't want to write them myself, and he really doesn't like it when I come live anymore. He always wants me. Of course he does. Okay, I'm getting off soon, baby. So yeah, every time I've tried to force it, even if I was like, okay, well, if I don't want to write the blogs, I'll get other people to. It still didn't work out. It just didn't work out because it's forced, and I didn't, wait for the right response. And anyway, that is spiritual. And this is the way that I'm operating my life now. This is the way that I'm operating my business now. I credit being spiritual with so much of my healing. For any of you guys that are new here, just started following me, I had a very traumatic childhood. I grew up with, a lot of drama, traumatic experiences, addiction, abuse, and that is my story, but that doesn't define me, and I am here on this planet to heal my lineage. Like, I 100% strongly believe in ancestral trauma. Actually, that is something that has been discovered and proven through science, so that's not even fully woo-woo. My role in this life is to be the one in my family of all the women to heal the trauma, heal the depression, heal the, suicidal, all of that, because it's run rampant in my family on my mom's side. What is this? He's like, look at me, a peekaboo, a peekaboo. Oh. Okay, that's cute, right? Now I forget what I was saying. Ancestral trauma, that's what I'm here for. Anyways, guys, it's been a huge part of my healing. Lots of prayer, lots of therapy, lots of healing. And okay, I gotta finish this, buddy. There's people watching. So it's been a huge part of my healing. If I hadn't embraced it and just tried to do things like more of a linear way, I, probably would be on some kind of like medication and seeing a psychiatrist instead of, going to like spiritual healers. And I just don't think that I would have gotten to the place that I am if I hadn't embraced my spirituality. I don't think it makes me any less serious of a person. I am still a badass businesswoman and, powerful. I'm powerful. And I think one of my huge beliefs is that we shouldn't be, as women, trying to emulate the masculine ways of accomplishing things in the world and the masculine definitions of success, because we've all adopted a hugely masculine energy in this world in terms of getting things done. And I think that is one of the hugest shifts that needs to happen in this world, is that we need to take our feminine power back. And feminine doesn't mean forcing. Like sometimes there's a lot of, aggression in femininity, like, the goddess Kali and like all those intense, destructive or whatever feminine energies, but everybody is still sort of operating on a majorly masculine vibe or like wavelength energy level. And that's been one of the huge things that I've learned through my spirituality journey and feminine, learning to embrace what femininity means. And I mean, it doesn't mean lipstick at all. It means learning how to hold space and be patient and, honor the cycles of your life, the cycles of the month, obviously, and not, suppressing any of that and not forcing things. So I'm going to talk a lot more about all this kind of stuff because it's literally what I think about all day long. I've read so many books. I constantly listen to podcasts. It's my huge passion is healing women, femininity, power, stepping into your power, especially as new parents, as new moms. We have hugely lost touch with ourselves, and we need to gain that all back and gain back our power. So I'm actually going to be offering one-to-one coaching sessions, just one-off 1 hour coaching sessions for $88 for the 60 minutes. And it's going to be via Skype or Zoom call or FaceTime, whatever works best. And we're going to just talk about what you need to do, what you need to heal, what your next steps need to be to move towards that power. And just reclaim yourself, reclaim, your inner light and your inner color and your inner vibrance, because we all need that. And it's not selfish at all, because the world needs it. The world needs your vibrance. It needs your excitement. It needs your energy. And the world is going to change because of women, okay? And not because of, smash the patriarchy necessarily. Like, we need two sides to the coin. And I intend to bring the other side of that coin, which is super powerful, feminine light. Anyways, guys, that's the end. This kid needs me. Thanks for watching. DM me if you want a one-on-one session, because I'm not going to be offering too many of them. I don't have a ton of time, but I'm 100% in on this, and I'm super duper excited to be opening up those sessions, because the world needs more of this. women collaborating. Bye, have an awesome day.